My name's J.C. McCauley.
I'm Naisha McCauley, and you're watching AccessTV.org.
Bienvenido a la celebración de la vida y el legado de una mujer puertorriqueña extraordinaria, doña Gloria Gerena. Good evening all. Welcome to the celebration of the life and the legacy of a great Puerto Rican woman. Okay. My technical man will help us here. Nos va a ayudar el hombre técnico. Esa es doña Gloria hablándonos. Dejándonos saber que estamos aquí todos para ella, ¿verdad? No vamos. Ok, aquí. Muchas gracias. No sé dónde me quedé. A mi edad de 70 años ya se me están olvidando las cosas. Pero lo importante es que estamos aquí para doña Gloria. Todos ustedes están aquí presentes y es un placer tenerlos a todos aquí. So it's really a pleasure having you all here. It says a lot. Actually, a lot more people showed up than I thought they would. So this is great. It says a lot about doña Gloria. Nos dice mucho sobre lo que doña Gloria representaba para nuestra comunidad. Lo primero que voy a hacer es que quiero dedicarle este programa a la familia de doña Gloria. Y la familia de doña Gloria, ¿verdad? Cuando la idea se me ocurrió, le hice un acercamiento a Lourdes, la hija de doña Gloria, la única hija. Y ella me dijo que le gustaba la idea y que iba a hablar con su familia. Y después que lo discutió con su familia, ella entonces me llamó y me dio a saber que todos estaban en acuerdo en que lleváramos a cabo la actividad en honor a su madre. Doña Gloria hubiera sido la primera que nos hubiera dicho: yo no quiero ningún homenaje. Ella, tuve la dicha y el honor de conocerla personalmente. Doña Gloria era una persona sumamente simple, humilde, sumamente inteligente, completamente dedicada a su familia y completamente dedicada a la patria de Borinquen o Puerto Rico. Por eso es que entendemos el que traer un evento como este era importante por el ejemplo que doña Gloria trajo a la comunidad. Voy a decir en inglés, después de hablarlo en inglés, vamos a continuar en inglés, porque si continuamos en español y en inglés va a ser muy largo, y tenemos la suerte de que el Public Access Channel está grabando esta actividad y la van a pasar por el Public Access Channel para que entonces la comunidad pueda verlo. Además nos van a proveer un video y la actividad va a estar entonces en el internet. So I want to take the moment obviously, we're dedicating this activity to the whole family of the Gerena family and the extended family. And because of Lourdes, obviously, that I approached her. She brought it to her family, discussed it with her family, and they decided to go for the activity. So I want to name them, and I want them to stand up, as the activity is because of them, because they gave us the permission, the authorization, and because Doña Gloria is looking at us right now, and she's very proud of her family. So here we go. Obviously, her children were Victor, Roberto, Alfredo. Is Alfredo here by any chance? No, okay. Alfredo's wife, Yolanda, Frederick, Lourdes. If Lourdes can stand up, please. The Lourdes better have Jorge Cruz. If you can stand up for a moment, please. The grandchildren, Natasha, Natasha's better half is Eduardo. Christy, Gloria Gerena, better known as Evie. Brianna. Is Brianna here? No? Okay. Xavier or Xavier. And Isaiah. Is Isaiah here? No? Okay. The great-grandchildren, Eliza. Is Eliza here? Brian. Mila. Jacob. And Elise. So we dedicate the program to all of them. Thank you so much. So now, we're going to have the National Revolutionary Anthem, el himno nacional puertorriqueño, por la compañera Gloria Gerena, que nos va a dirigir. Oh, Pimentel, perdón. Pimentel, Gerena, son familia, ¿verdad? Ahí está. So, quisiera saber si todos tienen una copia de la letra de la canción, ya que quisiéramos que todos entonces se unieran con nosotros a cantarla. Muchas gracias. Thank you very much, Gloria Pimentel, for the National Revolutionary Anthem. Ahora les quiero presentar al compañero licenciado Iván Ramos Soler, quien nos dará un pequeño resumen sobre la situación política de Puerto Rico. Now I would like to introduce to you Attorney Iván Ramos Soler. He is the president of the committee of la diáspora del Partido Puertorriqueño here in Connecticut, the Connecticut Committee.
Good evening. Good evening. As Francis said, I am Ivan Ramos Soler, President of the Connecticut Committee of the Puerto Rican Independence Party in the diaspora. Many of us had the privilege of knowing Doña Gloria, and I know that one way to honor her is to continue fighting for the independence of Puerto Rico. I ask all of you to consider volunteering to help causes and organizations that promote the independence of Puerto Rico. I humbly submit to you that the Puerto Rican Independence Party is one of those organizations. El PIT, as we commonly know the Independence Party in Puerto Rico, was founded more than 75 years ago and is the largest organization supporting independence. Although LP has had a chapter in New York City for the past 65 years, this is the first time that there is an effort to open committees and establish committees throughout the entire Puerto Rican diaspora. The reason why this effort is taking place right now is that there is a resurgence in the support of Puerto Rican independence. People on the island are living a historic moment that has caused its citizens to turn away from the colonial status options of Commonwealth and statehood. And instead, they are turning and towards the idea of independence as the only road to achieve a democratic and prosperous Puerto Rico. In my opinion, there are four relatively new factors that are causing the people to change, and these factors are creating a shift in the political situation in the island. I have been asked to provide a 5-minute summary, which is very difficult. But I believe, in my opinion, that these four factors that I am going to talk about and I am going to describe will help you understand where we are, particularly with respect to the struggle for independence. Now, I have given each one of these factors a title, and then I will follow those titles with a brief summary of what I mean they are. Number one, the first factor right now, I call it statehood is dead. The US Congress has continuously ignored the pleas for statehood from the political party who supports this option, the PNP. Despite winning 5 out of the last 8 elections, and presumably winning the locally held referendum in Puerto Rico, the PNP has failed miserably to obtain any significant support in Congress. As a matter of fact, it is fair to say that there has never been so much opposition to statehood in Congress as there is today. Now, let's turn to the second factor. The United States Supreme Court, in the court's recent decisions, have exposed the fallacy of the Commonwealth status. Recent Supreme Court cases, such as Sanchez Valle and Madero, have debunked once and for all the false notion that the Commonwealth status is similar to a treaty or a compact between two sovereign nations. So that idea has been consistently debunked, particularly since 2016. The United States Supreme Court has reiterated the colonial nature of the Commonwealth and has affirmed that Puerto Rico is a possession or a territory, as they refer to Puerto Rico as, and that it is governed by Congress's plenary powers. Number three, the number three factor, the Fiscal Control Board is a colonial dictatorship. Puerto Ricans have realized that they do not live in a democracy. Since 2016, Puerto Rico has been governed by a supragovernmental body known as the Fiscal Control Board, or La Junta, as we call it. This is a non-elected board appointed by the government of the United States, and it has the power to invalidate laws enacted by the elected government of Puerto Rico. Although presumably the board exists to rule over financial matters, it also uses its wide powers to invalidate laws in a wide range of matters, including the environment, labor relations, medical insurance, and Puerto Rico's power grid. And yes, as you might suspect, Luma, the disastrous electric company that runs the power grid, was imposed by La Junta. And number four, the two-party system has collapsed. El bipartidismo, if you guys have been following Puerto Rican politics, has become a catchy phrase. The PNP and the PPD. For decades, political power in Puerto Rico has been strictly shared by two political powers, the pro-statehood PNP and the pro-Commonwealth PPD. That is no longer the case. Rampant corruption in these two parties, the economic crisis, and the three factors that I just mentioned have led to the collapse of the two-party structure. Due to this collapse, the current governor was elected with only 32% of the vote. Currently, neither one of the colonial parties that have shared power show any signs of life. This can be felt on the street, on social media, on the podcast that we listen to, on the attitudes of our celebrities and their statements, as we all hear repeatedly on YouTube channels and even in some international outlets. On the other hand, in 2020, the Puerto Rican Independence Party experienced its highest growth. El PIB grew by 700%, obtaining 14% of the vote. The votes from El PIB, combined with the votes of a new emerging party, Movimiento Victoria Ciudadana, made up 28% of the vote. A considerable number of leaders in Victoria Ciudadana are also pro-independence and have shown a willingness to work with El PIB and our candidate for governor, Juan Dalmau, towards a victory in 2024. I ask you to stay tuned to Puerto Rican politics and stay active, because in 2024, we can elect Juan Dalmau as the first pro-independence governor of Puerto Rico. This morning, I got a message on WhatsApp from one of our leaders in the Puerto Rican diaspora. And that 28% that we're talking about in this recent poll climbed up to 30%. As you know, the governor won with 32%. And the two parties seem to be somewhere, the two formerly major parties, PPD and the PNP, appear to be polling somewhere around 28%. Now, don't be completely focused on polls. They're very difficult. Learn the lessons from other elections. Focus on what's happening on the street. I think it can be done. As I said, we can elect one Dalmau, and we need to make sure that Hartford, Connecticut is part of that effort. Que viva Gloria Gerena y que viva Puerto Rico libre. Thank you.
Thank you, Attorney Ramos, for that powerful message. Now, I would like to let you know that today we're celebrating an important day also. One of the great poets of Puerto Rico, Julia de Burgos, was born February the 17th. And to celebrate this, we have a Boricua poet that was born and raised here in Hartford, spent summers in Santa Isabel y Gurabo, Puerto Rico. She graduated of classical magnet program that was housed at the Hartford Public High School in 1995. She obtained her bachelor's and master's from St. Joseph College in 2000 and 2008, teaching for a total of 19 years, 17 of these years in Hartford. Hartford Public Schools 2020 Teacher of the Year. And she has a self-published book of poetry that was published in 2021 titled Brave Bird. Please welcome Shakira Perez.
Good evening, buenas noches. Thank you for the introduction. I'm honored to be here. I'm a firm believer in signs and how the universe brings things together, how life imitates art or how art imitates life, and I think that Doña Gloria's life very much imitated art as well. Julia de Burgos was a woman who also believed in La Patria and had a love for her island and made it very clear, not just for the landscape, but also for its independence. So I think the poem that I am going to read is called Despierta, or Wake Up. And again, believer of signs and how the universe aligns things and how everyone was singing the revolutionary hymn. It was just very moving to me. So I am honored to be reciting this poem today. Wake up. To the Puerto Rican woman in this hour of importance. Woman, you that wears in your veins the burning heats of the Borinquen land. You that feels the cries of the homeland that breathes slavery. Leave behind the side of orgies. Leave behind the side of pleasures and heroically defend the innocence and virtue of your homeland. The innocence threatened by tyrants that seek to corrupt our pure feelings and launch us into a seductive abyss where you engross in your pleasures. And forgetting 1,000 duties, we breathe the degrading and destructive perfume of vices. Woman, you that often pours the bitter melodies of your soul, you that feels, you that suffers, you that cries in bitter loneliness, you don't sense the torment? You don't hear 1,000 moans of your children, of your soul, of your homeland that demands freedom. Don't waver. They are your children that cry. It is your homeland that suffers without cease, that which calls to their children at all hours, their children of their land and of their sea, their valiant children, their devout children who forget that in their land there is glory, that in their souls there is unparalleled purity. So march, Borinquen woman, in the forward line that defends your virtue. Break the miserable bond that chains you to a prison and come back brave to your beautiful blood, to the libertarian cause that offers you dignity and redemption. Thank you.
Again, that was Shakira Perez. We thank her. That was very powerful, Shakira. She's the one who chose the poem and felt that, and I felt that was the right poem for tonight. Now we're going to have Los Bohemios play some music for all of us, and we'll be right back after they finish their music. All right, guys.
Muy buenas tardes o buenas noches, digo. Ya son 7:30. Hicimos un escogido de canciones, obviamente sobre Puerto Rico. Espero que les guste.
Promoción.
Pueden bailar. Muchas gracias. Y estas son canciones que ustedes conocen. Vamos a hacerle esa boricua en la luna. ¿Qué ustedes creen? Una canción inspirada por el poeta Juan Antonio Correger, que nos los trajo Roy Brown, y mucha gente canta esta canción, no importa de su ideología, la cantan porque donde quieran que estén y cualquier cosa, lo que pase, vamos a seguir siendo puertorriqueños no matter what.
Desde las olas del mar, que son besos a su orilla, una mujer de Aguadilla vino a New York a cantar. Pero no solo a llorar, un largo llanto y morir. De ese llanto yo nací. Con la lluvia una fiera y vivo en la larga espera de cobrar lo que perdí. y así le grito al villano, yo sería borincano aunque naciera en la luna. Y así le grito al villano, yo sería borincano aunque naciera en la luna.
Muchas gracias. Para terminar, vamos a cantar esta canción que todo el mundo la conoce también y nos la piden a menudo. Se titula Preciosa. Así que espero que les guste y párense, muévanse y que esto es para celebrar y para celebrar la vida de doña Gloria Gerena.
Yo sé lo que son los encantos de mi Borinquen hermosa, por eso la quiero tanto, por siempre la llamaré preciosa. Isla del Caribe, yo sé de sus lindas trigueñas, sé del olor de sus rosas, por eso a mi tierra trigueña, por siempre la llamaré preciosa. Isla del Caribe, Borinquen. Preciosa te llaman las olas del mar que te bañan. Preciosa por ser un encanto, por ser un bebé. Y tienes la noble hidalguía de la madre España. Y el fiero cantillo del indio bravío lo tienes también. Preciosa te llaman los bardos que cantan tu historia. No importa el tirano te trate con negra maldad. Preciosa serás sin bandera, sin lauros ni gloria. Preciosa te llaman los hijos de la libertad. Preciosa te llaman los bardos que cantan tu historia. No importa el tirano te trate con negra maldad. Preciosa serás sin bandera, sin lauros ni gloria. Preciosa te llama.
noches. Muchas gracias por la invitación y estar aquí con ustedes esta noche. Que pasen buenas noches.
Los Bohemios, are they great? So just in case, I want to again go and introduce them because I know they were playing the music and we couldn't hear Joel that well, but the four of them are Joe Diaz, if Joe can just say hi, el Cotto. Edwin Rios, Esteban Arrufat, and Joel Sanchez. We're very lucky to have the music by Los Bohemios. So now, we're going to go with the narrative on the history, la historia of Doña Gloria Gerena. And we have two special people that are going to bring us this information. And they are Gloria Pimentel and Dr. Reinaldo Rojas. And there's a lot of things I can say about them, but I think most of you know them. Todos saben quiénes son. So let's go with Gloria to give us this first part of Doña Gloria's life. Here we go.
Tengo que poner mis espejuelos porque después de los 30 uno no ve. Yo no estoy como en los 70. Gloria Gerena, qué placer, qué orgullo, qué honor. Hablemos de Doña Gloria. She was born Gloria Ortiz Maldonado on May 27, 1937 in Santurce, Puerto Rico, to Maria Maldonado and Albino Ortiz. Her mother died giving birth to her youngest son, Doña Gloria. Had 3 siblings, 2 brothers and 1 sister. Doña Gloria was the oldest of the children. After her mother's death, she was raised by her stepmother until she was 15. At that age, she moved to New York with her godmother, who lived in Puerto Rico. It is around that time that she begins to educate herself in the island's politics. In her early teens, she moves to New York as she became involved in radical politics and didn't want to get arrested. Didn't want to get arrested. Qué poderosa. Once she settles in New York, she meets the father of her children, Victor Gerena Sr. While pregnant from her first child, she gets married and becomes Gloria Gerena. The child is named after the father, Victor Gerena. At that time, she works at the factory and becomes pregnant with her second son, Roberto, better known as Bobby. She then had another pregnancy, however, lost that baby. Still, Doña Gloria, being the fertile woman that she was, gets pregnant the fourth time and had twins, Alfredo and Federico, the twins, los gemelos. She becomes six. And Doña Gloria started working from her home, ironing clothes and cleaning houses. Her twin sons are identical. At the time, she had a problem identifying them apart. She ended up feeding one, thinking she already fed him. Then she feeds the other one, and sometimes ended up feeding them twice. For her last pregnancy, she had a big surprise for her family. She gave birth to a daughter, Lourdes, who was born a year and a half apart from the twins, los gemelos. You might think, poor Lourdes, but she kept up with the brothers. Pranks, and reality is, poor boys, los gemelos. All children were born in New York City. While residing in New York, she attends social school and begins her studies in radiology. However, she has a difficult time dealing with the blood and decided to stop her studies. Doña Gloria's husband had some family members residing here in Hartford, Connecticut. In one of the trips, these family members, Doña Gloria and the children, remain and stayed in Connecticut. Mr. Gerena returns back to New York City, and Doña Gloria ends up moving her children to the Charter Oak housing projects. She had her high school diploma from New York City, and it's this time that she makes her decision to learn better the English language, learn how to drive, and go to college to obtain her degree.
We're going to continue with the narrative. Doña Gloria did night school to learn English language. After residing 12 years at Charter Oak Housing Project as a single mother, she moves with her children to the Wadsworth Street low-income housing program. Besides better learning English, the language, she also had to learn how to drive. This happens in her 30s. So she was still learning and fighting all the way to her 30s. She was certified as a social worker assistant in 1976 at Manchester Community College. That's starts her journey into social work, but I identified with Doña Gloria, and I'm going to add something at the end, because as a social worker, I identified with what she was trying to do. She majored in liberal arts in 1979 at the Greater Hartford Community College, now called Capital Community College. She also majored in the field of social work in 1982 at St. Joseph College, now St. Joseph University. She was honored at the National Conference of Puerto Rican Women as an Outstanding Woman of the Year in 1978. She was hired by the Institute for the Hispanic Family, where she worked for the rest of her life until she retired at almost 80 years of age. In September 12, 1983, her oldest son, Victor Gerena, took possession of $7.2 million as a Wells Fargo employee. Most in the media and in those in elite and power felt that he robbed the money. However, some of the believers of the movement for independence of Puerto Rico argued that the money was restitution for the exploitation of people in the island. Whatever the argument, right? Saying that this was a very difficult time for Doña Gloria and her family is an understatement. Police and the FBI harassed them constantly. They go to her second oldest son, Bobby, who resided in O'Brien at the time. Doña Gloria de Twin San Lourdes had no information about any of this whatsoever. But the FBI and the police forces don't believe that. Bobby goes to Central, to CSU, where I now teach, dorms and gets a hold of his twin brothers, letting them know what has happened. In other words, letting them know that the FBI and the police are going to come and harass you too. There was a massive manhunt by the FBI, the CIA, state, and local police. That year, Christmas gifts were provided to the poor children by courtesy of Victor Gerena in the Three Kings Parade. Through all the difficult times over the years, this family has supported one another on whatever has come their way. Doña Gloria, after finishing St. Joseph, she did her master's at the Yukon School of Social Work. And the FBI harassed her and harassed professors at the university because they didn't want her there, right? At that moment, they suspect everyone. And faculty at the university, stood up for her. And again, I was late because I came from a panel talking about representation in academia. And Dr. Julio Morales and other Puerto Rican faculty at the university stood for her when the FBI wanted to get rid of her. So representation sometimes does matter, because then when you have things like this, you can support and help your students in whatever circumstances. Not that you expect forces of the FBI and oppressive forces like that pushing down to your door, but you say, she's a student at this university. It had nothing to do with her being a student. And one story that I always remember Doña Gloria for, I always saw her as an icon of the Puerto Rican struggle, of the diaspora here, especially in Hartford. And I wanted to work under her. And in my second year internship, my first year internship during the School of Social Work, I went to work under her, during that first internship. And after a week, there was something in my heart. I really did not want to do casework, which that was what we were doing at the Hispanic, as a Hispanic family. And she noticed. I said, "What's going on? You don't look happy to be here." And I'm happy you're here. And I'm like, it's not you, absolutely. I don't know if this is what I want to do. And she sent me an advice that I never forget. She said, "You got to do what your heart tells you. If you don't want to be here, don't stay here for me. Don't stay here. What do you want to be?" Say, "I want to be a community organizer." Then be that. Then go ahead and call whoever you need to do and go pursue that. Don't stay in this internship just out of. And I don't know, maybe that's a nudge I felt I needed. And I never forget that encounter. And I switched, always regretting that I didn't work under her at the Institute of Hispanic Family, but happy that she was there to say, "Is this not what your heart is? Just follow your heart, follow what you want to do." And I never forget that, right? So again, a family that has been through a lot, but a family that has always fought, and with a matriarch it's like no other, right? And so, thank you. Gracias.
Thank you, Gloria, and thank you, Professor and Dr. Rojas, Reinaldo Rojas. Now I take this moment to introduce the main speakers, and we wanted to do something different. So we brought two siblings who are very well known in the Hartford area, in the Hartford community. So Leticia Cotto is a lifelong resident of Hartford's North End and mother of 3 adult children. Before serving in her present administrative role at the Hartford Public Library, Leticia managed one of the busiest branches in the system in the Frog Hollow neighborhood, in addition to being co-founder and co-owner of La Paloma Sabanera House Coffee, if you remember. She's a founding board member of Hartford Deportation Defense, board chair of the San Juan Center, and board member of Wackington School. Her brother, wow, there's many things we can also say about Luis. He's been a councilman, he's a father, a great brother, great friend, a guy really dedicated to the community. So again, we can go on to say a lot of things about Luis also, but I think the best thing is to have Leticia and Luis come over and give us their message on Doña Gloria, since both of them knew Doña Gloria. And I think it's an honor to have them here tonight. So Leticia and Luis Cotto.
Muy buenas noches, good evening. Gracias por la invitación. Thank you for this invitation. Es un honor estar aquí y pagar homenaje a Doña Gloria Gerena. ¿Cómo? El micrófono, ok, un poquito más. ¿Lo apagué? Probando. Ok, perfecto. Ahora sí. Muy bien, muy bien. So, in gathering information to pay homage to Doña Gloria, the words that surfaced and resonated with me most were Puerto Rican, community organizer, activist, solidarity, resistance, mother, grandmother, graduate of St. Joseph College, and graduate of UConn School of Social Work. I wondered, as I kept learning more about her, how did Gloria fare and navigate these identities in community and in different spaces where leadership opportunities for women of color were limited and challenged by white supremacist systems, colonialism, patriarchy, and racism. Gloria Pimentel talked about her education, and so did Dr. Reynaldo, but I want to mention it again. Gloria graduated from the community college system, St. Joseph College, and then went on to earn her master's degree from UConn with a 3.9 GPA. I chose to highlight these triumphs first because I am sure that going to school while also taking care of a family and raising a family was not without its challenges. These are laudable triumphs with great difficulties that deserve mentioning to show strength, resilience, and the strive for excellence. Doña Gloria's legacy in activism for human rights and the independence of Puerto Rico has been recognized in a dissertation by Maria I. Bryant titled Puerto Rican Women's Role in Independence Nationalism, Unwavering Women. Bryant states that what mattered most for the nationalist project was how women contributed to the independence cause. This woman warrior, Doña Gloria Gerena, played a significant role as a reproducer, transmitter, and participant in the struggle for the independence of Puerto Rico. This can be seen in her work with Todo Connecticut con Vieques and other groups that she founded, which you will hear about from other presenters this evening. Through her resistance to colonialism, patriarchy, and racism, she contributed in different ways to big causes like environmental justice and solidarity with the people of Vieques, Puerto Rico in their fight to remove the US Marines from their island. As a social worker, she contributed to expanding services and equity to families at the Institute for the Hispanic Family. All of this while raising a family and holding up community. Eso es una guerrera. This is a warrior, my friends. A woman warrior. a woman who led by her commitment to justice, a woman led by her commitment to justice, who led with conviction to transmit and reproduce a just and dignified future for her family, her community, and Puerto Rico. Muchas gracias, doña Gloria Gerena. Y aquí los dejo con mi hermano Luis Cotto.
Ditto. I want to give thanks to Francis for putting this together and being so conscious of like the 1 year anniversary, pero también to the family for allowing us to have this remembrance. Dime con quién andas y te diré quién eres. Tell me who you walk with and I will tell you who you are. It's a saying that a lot of people, you say it and it's almost from the vantage point of us judging the other, right? But it's just as strong to self-assess yourself and who do I walk with, hence who am I? And I speak as someone who grew up a little brown boy in the north end of Hartford, Kenyon Court, Center Street, East Street, Vine Street, who intersected with Gloria at different points in my life. And I'll speak to that because those are the times that I walked with her, right? The first was in my early 20s when I used to drive the van for Sacred Heart Church, and Doña Gloria was wearing her social work hat, and so she would ride with me and some other people when I took them here and there. And you know, up to that point, I was, you know, stereotypical young boy growing up in inner city, meaning that I was into hip hop, I was like, you know, into popular culture, and I wasn't really worldly in many things. And I remember somebody in the van said something, and I had told a story before in the past, because it's like the very first memory I've had where she struck me, right? Like she says something that I remembered, wow, this woman set me straight. And I said to the person, you better be quiet because someone's gonna call us communists. She snapped and said, ¿Y qué mal con eso? And I did not take that as a declaration, any personal declaration. I took that more as a challenge. Like what do you know about that word, other than what you're hearing from white supremacists, American superiority, like space. And I was lucky to have been at Sacred Heart Church with the liberation theology focus, where we learned a little more about that. And I was able to delve deeper into what that meant. But it was the first time where I went, that's not me, ¿verdad? No. But that was the first time, that was like I'll never forget that, because then the second time that I intersected with her, I'm going, that's that woman that told me off. But, and then you remember that, right? Because she always commanded respect. The second time I walked with her was with Todo Connecticut con Vieques. And I forever will be grateful to Valentin because of his incredible, of all the times to document, sometimes that was a really key time. When we were in front of the recruiting station over in downtown Hartford and seeing all our allies, but particularly Gloria, yelling with like all the vigor. There's one photo that's not there, which is one of my favorites, where she's in mid-yell. And I also remember going to the meetings. I remember when we first came up with the name, she reminded me of Maria Sanchez. And I was a kid, you know, going to the candy store, and you did not mess around with that woman in the bata, right? And so, like, immediately I got shades of Maria Sanchez with this woman with equal stature, whatever. And I didn't know her that well, other than like, this is the woman that told me off, you know, X amount of years ago. I later walked with her when, on a deeper level, with Colectivo Puertorriqueño Pro Independencia. And I'm gonna name whatever because we were a small group, but we did some good stuff. It was Doña Gloria, Fernando Betancourt, Francis Davila, Luis Cotto, Karen Perez helped out, Reinaldo Rojas, Jorge Limeres, Valentin Rosario, and Jorge Rivera. We were a good group that did some really great manifestations, and they were more like explaining who Hostos was, doing Albizu Campos stuff. We did bookmarks of Ramon Emeterio Betances that we brought to the Betances school, and we had a lot of wonderful meetings at La Paloma. And one of the ones that stands out to me was one towards the beginning when we decided, and I'm the least Spanish-speaking person of the group at this time, and even now, pero we decided to do the meetings in Spanish, and Gloria said, pues por lo menos un Latino va a tener un trabajo con ellos. Because she was sure someone was listening, and she said, at least somebody who speaks Spanish is gonna have a job when they're listening to what we're talking about. And we were like, yeah, okay, ¿verdad? Here we go. And similarly, when Abelino Gonzalez Claudio was when his case came to Hartford, another Puerto Rican political prisoner, actually my spouse and I at the time, we signed up to host him because they would allow him to come out and be like whatever and she helped us think through that of what the possibilities were. I'm like, whatever, we're thinking about doing this. We've been asked to do it. At the time I was a city councilor, so they felt if, a city councilor is vouching for him. And Mercy was like, let's do it. And Gloria gave some really great advice that allowed us to decide to do it, and the courts decided not to. And then finally, with La Paloma, eventually I became the person people called for people from the island who wanted to come interview Gloria for some reason or other. And I would vet it through her, and she would let me know. And on 2 occasions, she let somebody come and talk to her. One was Freddie Marrero. He was the director of the documentary Filiberto, and so she allowed him to visit at the house, which was really rare. And he interviewed her just like one-on-one and used some of that information in the documentary. The other was Mari Bras and Tristana Robles, and Gloria was not comfortable with Mari going to the house, so she asked me if she could do it at La Paloma. This was for a Saturday. Saturday was our busiest day. We closed La Paloma down. Whatever you want, Gloria. We closed the thing down, and Mari interviewed her with Tristana, and I reached out to both of them just to see if they could give us feedback on what that was like. Ironically enough, the video guy couldn't get me a video. Freddie was not able to do it. Mari did, and so I do have a video, which I'm gonna.
Desde Puerto Rico, esta noche, doña Gloria Gerena, pues para mí es parte de una estirpe muy particular de mujeres en la lucha multicentenaria de la independencia de Puerto Rico, por la independencia de Puerto Rico. Y me refiero a esas mujeres que cambiaron para siempre, ¿verdad?, los paradigmas de lo que era ser mujer en nuestras luchas, que nos enseñaron a asumir unos roles muy distintos en nuestras luchas que aquellos que nos proponían, ¿verdad?, en la sociedad y que todavía nos proponen. Mujeres que dedicaron toda su vida, todas sus energías a la causa de nuestra descolonización e independencia, y que en el camino tuvieron que sacrificar lo más preciado, algo que muchas de nosotras tal vez creeríamos innegociable, ¿verdad?, que en su caso pues fue su vida familiar, particularmente con su hijo Víctor. Doña Gloria, miro a Doña Gloria y veo que a una mujer que sacrificó tanto como sacrificó Lolita Lebrón, como sacrificó Blanca Canales, como sacrificó Doris Torresola, Carmín Pérez y todas aquellas mujeres nacionalistas, las conocidas y aquellas cuyos nombres todavía no se han grabado en nuestra memoria colectiva. sería injusto hablar de doña Gloria o recordarla solamente por la gesta de su hijo y por el sacrificio que esto supuso para ella. Doña Gloria pues fue un ejemplo de activista, de luchadora por la independencia de Puerto Rico, que es una de las causas más radicales que se pueden adoptar en territorio norteamericano, pero no solamente por eso, era una activista comunitaria, fue una trabajadora social que ha acompañado a múltiples comunidades, las comunidades más marginadas de la nación norteamericana, o por lo menos, ¿verdad?, particularmente en Hartford, Connecticut, en las escuelas, en las comunidades negras, en comunidades de personas sordas, pues como trabajadora social, con inmigrantes, con todas las comunidades que necesitan de solidaridad y acompañamiento en su resistencia o en su reivindicación de derechos. Ahí estaba doña Gloria, y eso nunca lo voy a olvidar, nunca voy a olvidar su ejemplo, su valentía, y hoy me honro en poder unirme a ustedes, aunque sea por esta vía, para recordarla y para utilizar su memoria, ¿verdad?, como combustible para las luchas que nos quedan y que tenemos que dar nosotras y nosotros. Así que desde Puerto Rico les saludo y gracias por invitarme, aunque sea por esta vía, a unirme a este extraordinario homenaje. ¡Que viva doña Gloria Gerena!
Finally, I want to just take a second to have a little exercise for us all. They say you die twice. One time when you take your last breath, and a second time a bit later when someone says your name for the last time. So I want to take a minute and see if everybody can just say the name. Like the other day I was with Abu Carter at the Alvin, and we were talking about Peggy Johnson, and he said, wow, I haven't heard that name. She died about 15 years ago. So Peggy Johnson right there, Vino Patra, right? So I'm gonna start it off and just say, Henry Cotto Jr., my brother who passed, and I'm gonna just stay quiet. People just wanna raise up somebody who you miss.
All my ancestors. Frank Vergara.
María Quiñones.
Carlos Rafael Pimentel.
Francisco Huertas.
Elvinia González. Comandante Carlos Irizarry Rivera.
Joaquín
Albizu.
Ezra Huertas.
Juan María Brás.
Y Gloria Gerena. So if you ask me who I walked with, although it was like this, I walked with Gloria. Y que, right? Thank you.
know why we chose Leticia and Luis Cotto to be the main speakers. Very powerful what both of them said. Now, we had a special speaker, Mr. Eugenio Cotto. Unfortunately, he's ill. He could not be here. Eugenio is one of the pioneers of Boricuas who came to this country and came to Hartford, Connecticut to fight for the rights of Boricuas and Spanish-speaking people. Amazing guy. So he couldn't make it, but we have somebody here who knows him very well and who's a good friend of mine, and I'd like him to come over and say some words, and that's Luis Delgado. Please, Luis.
Bienvenidos, welcome. I just want to give a greeting on behalf of Eugenio. He's very sorry that he can't be here today. He was very good friends with Gloria and her children, and he's very happy that this activity was put together. And the message for all of you today is that Puerto Rico will never be free as long as we keep calling it that. We have to learn to reclaim our identity, reclaim our culture, reclaim our traditions. So the message for today is Borinquen will never be free as long as we keep looking for the answers to our problems from the same people who create them. Peace, family.
Thank you very much, Luis. Very powerful words also. Now, I'd like to take a moment to bring somebody who actually went to school with me back in Puerto Rico back in the 70s. And I don't want to date her, but she's a great person, a social worker also, who knew Doña Gloria and would like to say a few words on her behalf. So I want you to welcome Herminia Cruz.
If I have to speak English or Spanish. Because Gloria will say, oh. Gloria and me, we know each other for years, okay, since she came from New York. And we work, we were, sisters, daughter, whatever you want to know. It's a very close relationship. And she would say, if I said, oh, we're going to an activity and we have to speak English, she would say, oh, no, could be in Spanish or okay, but I have to speak Spanish or English. Which one? It doesn't matter. Oh my gosh, and you make these people work so hard here with the language. Okay, pues vamos a hablar en español. Y yo, gracias. Y yo no me iría si yo no diga algo de Gloria, porque es una familia que yo me crié con ellos. Y ellos se criaron conmigo. Y es una pena que no pude estar en el entierro y todo eso porque estaba en Puerto Rico y eso fue una cuestión que ocurrió de momento, pero yo pude hablar con ella en el teléfono y asegurarle de que la lucha continúa y que nuestro pueblo todavía continúa en las condiciones que estábamos bregando. Porque una de las preguntas que tenemos que hacernos nosotros es, ay, ustedes me oyen, que estoy sin micrófono. ¿Tú me oyes?
Usa el micrófono mejor.
Ay, pero qué interesante se pone esto. Mira, entonces yo pregunto,
Ajá, pues entonces ustedes todos me hacían así, yo creía que me estaban oyendo, y lo que a lo mejor estaban diciendo era, sí, no te oigo. Le tengo que poner un poquito de humor porque miren, yo conocí a Gloria y Lourdes, los gemelos, Víctor, Bobby, que era Roberto. O sea, cuando ellos llegaron de Nueva York, sí, estuvieron viviendo en 2 sitios, bueno, 3 sitios, pero cuando llegaron de Nueva York, yo fui una de las personas que estuve con ella. Y eso era en los años de los 70 y 80, de los 80, no voy a poner tan vieja, ¿sabes? Pero yo era una nena todavía, pero Gloria me trataba como una nena, pero también me trataba como una compañera y una amiga de la familia. Y claro, y entonces en esos 80, pues nosotros hicimos un montón de cosas. Y ella estaba tan encantada cuando vio que pudimos traer a Rafael Cancel Miranda por medio de los compañeros allá de Nueva York. Y ella sintió ese placer porque ella pensaba, ay, Herminia, tú sabes, para ella era, tú sabes, algo grande, los nacionalistas vienen para acá. Y ella pudo disfrutarse. Y esas son cosas que a mí, cuando yo me entero que ella falleció y eso, a mí me llenaba unas cosas que pasé con ella que eran de tanto agrado y que a ella le gustaba. Y así estuvimos también bregando con la continuidad del trabajo de Vieques. Y ella disfrutaba cuando yo venía con las historias que si nos íbamos para las marchas ya en Puerto Rico de San Juan a Vieques, y ella le encantaba porque a veces si ella no podía ir, pero le encantaba la historia que uno le trajera como ella decía, de los revoluciones que yo hacía. La historia con Gloria es una historia, yo tengo una historia larga con ella. Era mi hermana, mi compañera de política, compañera de trabajo como trabajadora social. Cuando los nacionalistas salieron, ella decía, Dios mío, ahora los nacionalistas van a salir y qué sé yo, y nosotros dijimos, Gloria, vamos a hacer algo, vamos a inventarnos un comité unitario. Y de ahí entonces nos sentamos y sacamos el comité que llamamos Andrés Figueroa Cordero. Le llamamos la Fundación de Andrés Figueroa Cordero. Y ese comité, que no lo pudimos continuar a ciertos momentos, ese comité pues traía el tema de unidad en la situación, en los trabajos políticos de Puerto Rico y de aquí mismo en Connecticut y la comunidad de Hartford. Y ese fue uno de los trabajos políticos que hicimos entre ella y yo. Los trabajos de Vieques, del comité de Vieques, la continuidad de ellos, y actividades culturales y qué sé yo que hicimos aquí dentro de la comunidad puertorriqueña para mantener la cultura y ese sentido de nación, ¿verdad? Su Gloria siempre tenía otras, tengo tantas memorias, si me dejan aquí estamos hasta mañana. ¿Cuántos están dispuestos? Yo voy a pagar el desayuno de la mañana, ¿quieren? Lo pago y ustedes se quedan aquí y nos quedamos aquí hablando porque Gloria tiene una historia muy larga con nosotros aquí en la comunidad. Y si hablábamos del desarrollo de clínicas de niños en el instituto, y la pregunta que siempre me hago y que me gustaría preguntarle a ustedes, porque cuando mis hijos se enferman yo lloro, me siento mal y siento, tú sabes, que ay Dios mío, que no se me mueran, que no le pase. Y la pregunta que tengo para ustedes, que me la hago yo misma, si yo estoy dispuesta a dar un hijo a la lucha de mi patria. Señores, hay que tener valor. Hay que tener valor para yo dar un hijo a un ideal, a una idea, a una inspiración, a ayudar y proteger una nación, un montón de gente que no son familia mía, sino que son parte de mi nación. Ok, pues son familia en esa forma. Pero no es mi tío, yo voy a dar mi hijo por una tía o tío o un familiar, estoy dando la vida por una nación, un pueblo. ¿Cuántos estarían? Nosotras somos madres, yo soy madre y no quiero ofender a nadie, sino que la pregunta que tengo, ¿quieren contestar? ¿Les gustaría contestar esa pregunta si están dispuestos a dar un hijo por su nación, por ayudar a que esa nación no siga sufriendo? ¿Cuántos daríamos un hijo por ello? Y esa bravura, como yo digo, y esa postura tiene Gloria Gerena. Yo le digo a la familia, yo siempre llamo los gemelos, la Lourdes, Bobby, que se encontrará con doña Gloria, y Víctor, a todos los hijos y muchos compañeros que estuvieron con nosotros en la lucha de los 80 aquí, que fue bien difícil, especialmente cuando ocurrió el heroico momento de Víctor, que se desata la cuestión del gran jurado y todo eso. Fue interesante cómo nosotros, todos los puertorriqueños, nos pudimos ayudar unos a nosotros y ayudar y apoyar a Gloria en todo momento. Los dejo a ustedes entonces con el resto del programa. Y ya veo que Frankie me está diciendo, Herminia, no es las elecciones del 23. Pues los dejo y hago esas partes humorísticas porque Gloria era así. Gloria, ¿verdad, Lourdes? Le gustaba charlar, le gustaba, o sea, ella tenía unos momentos y a veces le gustaban las boberías que a veces yo me inventaba, ella gozaba con esas boberías. Pues entonces, buenas noches, yo me alegro tanto que está aquí, que ella deja una legacía aquí en Connecticut, aunque hay otras cosas que a lo mejor se pueden bregar en términos de lo que ella deja en esta comunidad, que es mucho lo que haya dejado. Gracias. Gracias.
Thank you to la compañera Herminia Cruz. English, Spanish, obviously, Spanish is our first language. Now, I'm going to take this brief moment to let you know that I'm going to present Valentin Rosario, who, when you go out, you see all these photos, and Valentin took a lot of time to put together all this information and pictures of all Connecticut with Vieques, todo Connecticut con Vieques. And he will explain you the reason for all Connecticut con Vieques. But the thing about it was that, Doña Gloria and I went with a group of people here from Connecticut to Washington, D.C. to protest the situation that was taking place in Vieques. And over there, her and I were the co-chairs of the committee here in Connecticut, and we did a lot of work. There was a connection in Puerto Rico with, I don't know if he's still here, but el licenciado Rafael Rodriguez was instrumental in helping us, with connecting us with Vieques over there. And he did a lot of amazing job with everything that was going on with, again, Vieques and Hartford, Connecticut. But the thing about it was that Doña Gloria and I went with a group of people from Connecticut to Washington, D.C. And over there, I was talking in Spanish and trying to explain a whole bunch of people the reason that we were there protesting. And a lot of people who did not speak Spanish were asking us questions. So Doña Gloria took me to the side and told me, she called me Frankie, and told me, you know, I think you should speak in English because it's our job to try to educate the people that don't speak Spanish about the situation of Puerto Rico. And it's also our job to educate the new generations who don't speak fluent Spanish or don't speak Spanish at all. So, you know, even though, again, Spanish is in our heart, even though, again, the Spaniards went to Borinquen and just colonized Borinquen or Puerto Rico. It was a lesson for me from Doña Gloria, why we needed maybe sometimes, or we need sometimes to speak in English and educate these people in English. Either way, I hope that you understand then why we're doing this in the English language. Hopefully that videotape will reach English-speaking people that will understand the situation of Borinquen or La Isla de Puerto Rico. Now please welcome Valentin Rosario, and he will explain you why he took the time to create everything, the information, the pictures of All Connecticut with Vieques.
Thank you, Francis. I'm going to be very brief. I just want you to understand that Doña Gloria meant a lot to me. I worked with her and I met her in 1999 when the struggle for Vieques to take out the Marines out of the island started in 1999. And that's when I met Doña Gloria. I never met her before. And then after that, we were pals, friends. We were everywhere meeting for All Connecticut with Vieques. And a lot of members are here, and they know that she was always one of the first getting to the room wherever the meeting was. She was very, very dedicated, very, very puntual. I don't know how to say that in English, puntual. Huh? Okay, whatever. So the thing is that I capture Doña Gloria in my exhibition that I have out here that I want you all to appreciate. She's in 3 photos, and I always appreciate her, and I capture her screaming, "Paz para Vieques!" And another one, she's with a sign in front of the Federal Building. When All Connecticut with Vieques ended, you know, in 2003, the struggles ended there. I have some binders by year, 1999 until 2003, when the struggle ended. Then we created, with Francis, Fernando, Luis, in La Paloma Sabanera, we created El Colectivo Puertorriqueño Pro Independencia. And she was key in that colectivo, in that committee. And I want to say something about a t-shirt that I have out here that is part of the exhibition. 2003, we created a t-shirt that said, Vieques ganó. It's a black t-shirt out there. But if you notice in the back, it says, bye bye Navy. And guess who said those words? And she said, those words have to be in that t-shirt somewhere. And we put it in the back. In front says, Vieques ganó, bye 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 Navy. Because she was so glad that day in 2003 when Bush said, we're out. And then if you notice in the opposite side of the 10 photos that I have, it's the chronologia of all the events from 99 up to 2003 that the Hartford Courant did a very good job. And I put it as part of my exhibition. And then another poster that I have of New York Times that came out in a few months before Bush said that we are out. That came in the New York Times. A bunch of artists and people of sports and famous people from Puerto Rico claiming to Bush, you need to get the Navy out of Vieques. And that was a very powerful message in the New York Times. And a few months later, Bush said, bye, bye, bye. Like Gloria said, bye, bye, bye. So I leave you with that. I don't want to say much because a lot of people said beautiful things, but I want you to appreciate the exhibition, please. And Gloria was very key in all that struggle. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Valentin. That was Valentin Rosario again. Please take the time to go outside of the room and see again the exposition that Valentin documented. It's extraordinary. I want to take now, to introduce to you a student here of Trinity College, David Gone. David is Mexican, but he's part of the La Voz Latina. And when this idea came to me and I called this person who did not hesitate, Carlos Espinosa, great guy who I have known for many years and works here at Trinity College. He invited some of the students, and David has been there answering my phone calls and trying to help me with everything. So if David can come over and just say a few words, I'd like to him just to say a couple of things. David Gone, he's a Mexican, of Mexican heritage from Texas.
Muchas gracias, Francis. Primeramente, buenas noches a todos. I'm gonna say it in English. It's a little easier for me. My Spanish isn't the best, honestly. But yeah, hello everyone. I'm David Gone, as Francis said. I'm the current president of La Voz Latina. Yeah, first of all, I want to say thank you to everyone that helped organize this event. Thank you, Carlos. Espinosa, I'm not sure. Oh, he's right there, actually. Thank you, Janissa Cortez. Unfortunately, she couldn't be here because she had something to do. But yeah, I still want to appreciate all the help that CSA, or Caribbean Students Association, provided. Yeah, I'd like to thank Francis for making us part of this event to honor Gloria Gerena and all the amazing work she did for the community. Gloria, as many as you know, has inspired many, both inside and outside the community we have here in Hartford, and her legacy will continue to bring inspiration in the future. In commemoration, La Voz Latina will be having 2 events in the near future. We'll be holding an Afro-Latino student panel discussing various topics such as intersectionality, I'm so sorry, it's a really hard word, and identity on February 28th. And then on March 7th, we're going to be speaking about modern colonialism in Puerto Rico and the significance of the popular song El Apagón by Bad Bunny. Again, I'm so honored to have the chance to speak here before all of you today. And again, thank you so much for everyone for being here, y que pasen bonita noche.
Thank you again. That was David Gonet from La Voz Latina. Now I'd like to take a moment to bring back el licenciado Iván Ramos Soler, who's going to introduce you somebody who came from New York for this activity to say a few words. So again, let's receive again licenciado Iván Ramos Soler.
Yes, as I mentioned earlier, the PIP in the diaspora is larger than Hartford, and I mentioned that the New York committee has been in existence for approximately 65 years. So I will proudly bring to the front to speak to you and give you a greeting, Eric Ramos Rodriguez, who has been involved in New York politics for a long time. He also is a member of El Frente Independentista Puertorriqueño, which is an umbrella group uniting all pro-independence organizations in New York City, something that I think is very important. And actually, it's a model for other independence organizations in the island and throughout the diaspora, because it brings unity and tries to find a common ground. So Eric, come here and say hello to everyone. Y estaba hablando en inglés, no sé por qué, pero
Thank
okay.
you. No. I'm gonna speak in English. First of all, I have to say that I'm humble with all the words and the incredible things that I have heard tonight. I knew Doña Gloria because of others over there in New York, and later I knew that whenever I came to Groton, Connecticut, long time ago in 2001 or something like that, she was there, and I didn't met her. But definitely, I want first of all to salute her family. It had to be wonderful to have a woman like her as part of your life, and all of us admire that. And thank you for being here. For me, I'm coming from Brooklyn, New York, and representing the Puerto Rican Independence Party. I want to say hello from the Puerto Rican Independence Party in Puerto Rico and from the people of New York City. As Ivan mentioned, the Frente Independentista Boricua is an effort that we started about 4 years ago and started to talk about the struggle and looking for things that are that unite us. There's some difference in our methods and ways to approach the problem, but all of us recognize that the moment in Puerto Rico is a unique moment, a moment in which that requires that we join forces in order to rescue our country that is in the middle of the process of disintegration. They are stealing us. They are looting our country. La Junta Fiscal is created to finish Puerto Rico as a nation, finish Puerto Rico as a country, finish the possibilities of Puerto Rico to be Puerto Rico. So we have all of us together to struggle as Gloria did all her life. This is something that continues. So it's the moment of joint forces. So we invite everyone here, as compañero Iván said, to look whoever is trying to do something to stop this situation in Puerto Rico that is urgent. We have to stop the situation. So whatever whoever is talking and is working, and you identify that is ahí llegó el español. Que algo que se trata de una lucha auténtica, gente auténtica, porque hay muchos lobos vestidos de oveja en todo esto y lo hemos sabido por muchos años. So, whoever knows that, whoever identify that, try to work with these people, for those people, because the situation is something that is very fluid, and whatever was a problem 2 years ago, now is a bigger problem, and it's gonna be bigger and bigger. And if we kept the trend of looking as our island, nuestros jóvenes se van de Puerto Rico, sigue raising the age of the people in Puerto Rico, bringing other problems, because that means a big, una gran presión para nuestra sociedad, una gran presión para un país poder mantenerse de pie cuando la población está envejeciendo, que no significa que las personas envejecientes pierden valor, sino que no hay una juventud creando, no hay una juventud generando riqueza, y eventualmente la situación en Puerto Rico va a tornarse en a point of no return. That's what we don't want. So, que viva Gloria Gerena y que viva Puerto Rico libre. Muchas gracias.
Very powerful message. So now we're going to be closing the program, and I want to call Gloria Gerena so she can say a few words. Before I do, I took the time to write a little information here. I wanted to read it to you quite quickly. So here we go. All of Doña Gloria's children understood their mother's political views and cause. However, Victor and Lourdes were closer to their mother on that particular matter. Lourdes, who was a tomboy when she was a kid, was Victor's shadow. In June of 1984, the family celebrated Victor's birthday to remember him. Victor is the father of 2 daughters. Bobby had no children and passed away February the 6th, 2010. The twin brothers, Alfredo or Freddy, is the father of a daughter, and Federico or Frederick is the father of a daughter and a son. Lourdes has a daughter and also a son. Doña Gloria was crazy in love with her grandchildren and never forgot to give them birthday cards on their birthdays. Doña Gloria always supported and protected her children, and her children always supported and protected her. Something very important that we should know. It took Doña Gloria some time to become or graduate in order to become a clinical social worker. She would take power naps and then study most of the night. And her daughter, Lourdes, learned how to type. She taught herself how to type and eventually typed all her papers for her mother's pre-grad and grad school. Lourdes' dream was law enforcement, but because of the circumstances, she ended up in the field like her mother did of social work. Doña Gloria was completely committed to the Spanish-speaking community and was clear in supporting small businesses in these communities. She was very appreciative of Catholic charities and the Institute for the Hispanic Family who gave her the opportunity of hiring her as a social worker. She was also a devoted Catholic all her life. She had passion for her children and her family and the family she serviced. She assisted in creating the sexual abuse unit at St. Francis Hospital. This that I'm going to tell you now was very important to me out of all the information that was provided to me by the family. 2008, Doña Gloria's granddaughter, Gloria Ibeliz, better known as Evie, went into the Army at the age of 17. Victor served in the Army, and Lourdes wanted to enlist into the Marines, but never did out of the love and respect she had for her mother. Lourdes supported Evie going into the service. However, once Evie was deployed for the first time to Afghanistan, Doña Gloria immediately voiced her concerns. Still, in the male-dominated armed force services, Evie demonstrated her genes of the Gerenas and the Ortiz and became a mechanic for Apache helicopters. After about 10 months, Lourdes once received a phone call in her cell. Lourdes did not recognize the number, but her mother's instinct told her that she needed to answer that call. It was Evie. She was calling to the United States from Afghanistan, letting her know that she was returning to Connecticut, to the United States and to Connecticut. Lourdes kept this to herself because, again, it was unknown when Evie was going to return. However, finally, when Lourdes found out when Evie was returning, she told the family she had a surprise for all of them. When Evie was able to meet with her family, Doña Gloria cried of happiness, and her words were, "Mi baby, mi baby." So with you, I leave now, Lourdes Gerena.
Good evening. Try to get through this. There isn't a day that goes by where my thoughts are not filled with memories I shared with my mom. I miss our daily talks. When this football season began, it hurt because I missed being able to call her to remind her when the Giants were playing and hearing her say in her own voice, "Okay, I'll watch it. Ellos van a perder anyway, but I'll watch it." My mom was great. She always remembered to send cards to all of us, the grandkids, the great-grandkids, for their birthdays and holidays. I know I would surely miss her calling to sing happy birthday to me when she was always off-key. There was so much that we will miss from not having my mom here with us anymore, from her laughter to her lipstick kisses left on our cheeks. So on behalf of the Gerena family, we would like to thank you all for organizing this beautiful tribute to this special woman who was an amazing mother, grandmother, and friend. I cannot think of a better way to pay respects to such an amazing woman who loved and dedicated much of herself to our family and to the Puerto Rican community. We will always cherish and remember this night and the stories shared of the impacts she made in the lives of so many. Thank you.
So, you know, before we say good night and goodbye, I'd like to know if anybody else from the Gerena family would like to come and say something. No? Okay. All right. Well, listen, muchas gracias a todos por venir. Thank you so much all for coming. And, you know, it's been a pleasure, obviously, celebrating the life and legacy of this woman who really taught us, you know, what is it to believe in a cause. Not too many people can do that. It really was and is a big lesson for all of us, what Doña Gloria taught us. So, muchas gracias. Until we see you again. Hasta la próxima. Que viva Puerto Rico y que viva Gloria Gerena.